Hello everybody, welcome to the NPTEL SWAYAM course on Customer Relationship Management. This is Dr. Shagata Chatterjee from VGSOM IIT Kharagpur who is taking this course for you. We are in week 8, probably this one will be your last video where we are discussing about global CRM. Global CRM is the application of CRM concepts in the global marketing or international marketing situation. And we have been discussing in the last video what are how the cultural aspects impact CRM and how the macro and micro factors can impact the CRM strategies that the companies can take. We will continue with this discussion in this video as well. So, we have discussed about Häagen-Dazs, we have discussed about McDonald's. Here I am talking about customers lifetime value and culture, how culture impact the customer lifetime value context. So, to maximize customer lifetime value around the world, global managers need to understand the difference in cultural and economic dimensions across countries. So, the socio-cultural background are different and also the economic background are different, both has to be considered. So, what are the drivers of CLV? The CLV drivers are repeat purchase or purchase frequency, gross contribution of margin means how much profit you can generate, and the marketing cost. So, these are marketing cost is the it's not the net it's a I would say the fixed cost that you incur, and gross contribution of margin is probably price minus the variable cost, that is the margin, and the purchase frequency. So, individualistic countries have strengthened relationships between multi-channel buying, cross-buying, product returns and purchase frequency and contribution of margin, because there the focus is very much on the transaction, not on the relationship. So, the people will focus on that what benefit I will get from having a long-term relationship with you or repeat purchase from you. So, they have done whatever they have done is whatever relationship strategy they take is very much tangible. It is related to multi-channel buying, cross-buying and product returns, purchase frequency and contribution. These are all measurable. However, the effect of loyalty program enrollment on purchase frequency and contribution margin is weak in countries high in individualism. So, while you are doing what kind of loyalty program enrollment you are doing, that will not lead to purchase frequency. What will lead to purchase frequency or contribution towards margin is what kind of benefit that you are giving. Just having a relationship is not enough. In the context of collectivistic countries, just having a relationship is not enough, even if you are not getting any monetary benefit. Therefore, firms in individualistic countries should focus on promoting multi-channel buying and buying across departments and implement a lenient return policy with minimal focus on loyalty cards. So, rather than loyalty card, you focus on what benefits, what kind of convenience you can provide. Most importantly, the study suggests managers evaluate the net effect of cultural dimensions on the drivers of purchase frequency and contribution margin and focus on the drivers whose net effect is highest after accounting for the relevant cultural dimensions. So, this is how the culture impact in an individualistic context. Next, we will talk about something called a global account management. Now, this is a topic which is in a previous study we told in a B2B context. Till now, whatever we discussed mostly Häagen-Dazs or McDonald's or let us say before to that we have discussed about I think these two we have discussed. So, these are all basically in a B2C context. But in a B2B and IBM also we have discussed, that is also B2B context. Now, in a B2B context, there is something called key account management. Key account management is what you have to find out which of your clients are your key clients, are most important clients, and try to manage them separately. Try to have a very focused association with them. Often you want to do co-creation with them and etc. Now, if by chance this particular key account is situated globally, that means either the customer is situated in a different location than the company, or the customer is located in multiple locations, or the company is actually located in multiple locations and giving service from multiple locations. All of these things can be considered as a global context or an international marketing context. Now, in this kind of a situation, when the global account management becomes important. So, it is crucial for companies with multinational customers. Global account management is of uttermost importance for suppliers. Initial adopters of GM were IBM, Xerox and HP. So, accordingly to HBR, only HBR means Harvard Business Review, a third of hundreds of suppliers that have adopted GM are happy. So, if you are adopting this strategy, you are happy. For example, Honeywell provides GIM to multinational customers that want to specify centrally what sorts of process control equipment are installed in their factories worldwide in order to ensure common quality standard and minimize variations in operating and training procedures. So, you have to understand that there are certain companies who have multiple presence in multiple places, they have different kinds of factories. Now, if their factories are not having similar kind of I would say machines or similar kinds of tools, then the product quality that will be generated in multiple places are very different. Similarly, if the life of the product of the tools or the life of the systems or the quality of the systems are not of the similar mark, that will create a problem. So, what Honeywell did is Honeywell provided a global account management kind of a tool, where all these things will be monitored, discussed, consulted and will be in sync. Now, all the people who have this kind of a GM strategy will did actually pretty well. So, they were happy. The fueling service of BP's Castrol division that also offers GM to key multinational customers in the transportation industries for obvious reasons, because international routes and their activity on those routes are constantly changing. Let us say the flights, they are constantly changing, and global coordination is essential to ensure that planes and ships do not run dry. So, if you are not connected, so ideally BP is basically selling petrol or whatever, some fuel, but they are also coming up with the IT tool, a global account management kind of tool, where their client can coordinate with each other, that at what point how much has to be sourced, how much fuel has to be bought, how much fuel has to be stored, how much time will be required to filling the planes or some other transportation products, transportation services and etc. So, by saying that, all I am trying to say that though Honeywell is saying selling automation products or BP Castrol is saying fuel, by giving this kind of a service, which is global account management kind of a service, they are ensuring that the overall management in a multinational environment gets smoothed up, because if it is smooth, then the customer will be more loyal towards these suppliers. How to know if GM is required? So, whether your products and service needs global coordination and are profitable enough to justify, that is the first one. So, if it is global in nature and if you spend money on that, whether that will be profitable enough or not. Whether your multinational customers want GM, that is the second step. So, the first one is the utility, second thing is whether your customers want GM or not. If they have their own GM, or if they think that no, you will not be able to give us that kind of a management strategy, then you might not be in a position to impose that. So, whether your customers want it is an important factor. Whether your multinational customers are important to your business, whether you want them to be your business, and whether you can gain competitive advantage from GM. So, whether your competitor is giving it, your competitor is giving it, you have to give it. If they are not giving it, you can do analysis and see that if by giving it, you can do better than them. So, these are some of the drivers. What are the benefits? You can improve customer satisfaction by 20%. This is something that came from Harvard Business Review, that you can improve customer satisfaction by 20% or more within a few years of introduction of GM, Global Account Management Strategy, raise both profits and revenues by 15% or more, and you can have a mature program. Mature program, those at least of 5 years old, can generate increases twice as large as or more. So they can actually create profits twice as large or more than whoever is not so established GM strategy. So, as GM strategy also gets implemented well and as time passes, you get benefits more and more. So, this is something that we have to also take into account. Let us discuss some of the CRM done right. In what kind of situation CRM was done right or wrong? Let us discuss some of the case studies. Today, companies are not using CRM systems to transform entire business, but to solve clearly defined problems within the customer relationship cycle. So, rather than changing everything, they are focusing on certain aspects. For example, all companies before launching CRM initiative should ask these 4 questions. Is it strategy? For example, before spending a single penny of CRM, identify the processes that most support your company strategy and improve those processes for improvement through CRM. So, you do not change everything overnight. You find out all the processes that are there and find out which of the processes are more related to your top line and bottom line. These are your most crucial factors. Then once you have identified that, you try to tackle them rather than tackling the whole thing. For example, air parts distributor Aviel Inc. What they do, needed a well-trained sales force to achieve its strategic objective. What was its strategic objective? Becoming the premier industry provider of supply chain management services. So, the company installed only those CRM elements required to enhance sales force and order entry productivity, not anything else, because they are focusing on the supply chain management, where the demand and supply becomes more important factor rather than any other part. So, they implemented CRM, but not all the modules. They will not require the customer service module. They will not require probably the problem generating module. They will majorly focus on a complaint handling module. They will majorly focus on the demand and sales force and order entry kind of a module. That module they have already implemented. Then what does it hurt? Next question. Consumer goods giant Kimberly Clark's pain point lay in their retailer promotions. They were not being able to do the retailer promotion, not the customer promotion. So, running thousands of promotions annually, it couldn't discern which promotions strengthen their retailer loyalty and sales. They were giving more retailer margin, they were giving free US trip if you can sell this much, or free ticket to World Cup soccer match if you can probably take so many customers in our network. So, that kind of various kinds of benefits we give. Sometimes the benefits that we give to the retailers are related to tangible, sometimes intangible, sometimes monetary, sometimes non-monetary. Now, the question is that which kind of promotion is working. So, they were not able to track that, because they run promotion generally a B2C company will focus on the customers more, retailer less, but here in this particular context retailer is also important. So, it installed a modest CRM system that enabled managers to track the return of investments in individual promotions. They try to track individual promotions. I ran this, how much benefit I got, and sometimes this activity becomes a little bit of analytics activity also. If you do marketing analytics course, you will have an idea what I am trying to say. Do we need perfect data? That is also another question. For example, Japanese equipment maker Brothers International's US firm faced high product return rates stemming from customer dissatisfaction and call center service. So, the company launched a new CRM system that enabled service representatives to identify customers when they called, quickly locate their purchase record and provide codified responses to common questions. So, there were lots of product returns. Why? Because customers were dissatisfied and they were not getting satisfaction with the customer calls also. Service center they used to call, but they also the service was not good. So, they implemented a CRM which where I told in a previous class, if you remember, that your call center service has to be integrated with your backend purchase databases. So, this CRM system can quickly fetch that and check what kind of problems are there, what kind of these things are there, and will give some automated suggestions to the service rep. Now, based on the question, you can see the automated suggestions and give certain suggestions which might make this particular. So, they are help customer happy. So, they are taking the help of AI or data science to make the representatives or customer representatives more powerful, more enabled, more empowered to take calls for the customers. Call times shrank by 43 seconds, which is a huge savings, and that savings is actually almost $1 million in annually. So, that is something that you can do. Then what do we go from here? What is the next result? For example, Molex, an Alliance based global manufacturer of electronic and fiber optic interconnection systems, has a large customer base and a vast pipeline of potential orders. At any given point, the company is pursuing close to 15,000 different sales opportunities worldwide. For a number of years, Molex used email and spreadsheet to keep track of this pipeline, because the pipeline is so large, it becomes very difficult. But the resulting data were often weeks out of date. So, if you do it in Excel systems, you have to manually put the data and etc., it becomes out of date. What was the results? Difficult to consistently set sales priorities, so the company could pursue the leads which are highly potential. So, prioritization was not happening, and the lack of updated information also made it hard to synchronize Molex global efforts. So, what did they do? CRM system to manage its order pipeline. So, executives can see the full range of sales opportunities in real time and measure the real value of those opportunities and get updated information about them 24 hours a day rather than a few times a year. So, this is something that they can do. What are the benefits? It gains for immediate improved order management, more precise sales, better global coordination of inventory and pricing between regions. So, that thing helped. Both the number and the value of potential sales in the pipeline have climbed significantly, because now you can see that which customers have higher probability to get turned in, that means I would say converted, and who will give more money. So, probability of conversion multiplied by the expected money that you will get, that will create the customer lifetime value. So, you can very quickly calculate each of your potential clients' customer lifetime value, and based on that you can prioritize. If you have a CRM system, before that if you do it in Excel, 15,000 data in Excel, that to manually updating them becomes very difficult. End goal was 5% increase in revenues. 5% increase in revenue is a huge increase, it is not a child's play. By only adopting a simple system, it is a very huge increase. McDonald's tech turnaround. In January 2001, fast food giant McDonald's launched a 5-year $1 billion initiative to overhaul its information systems to enhance customer service at its more than 30,000 restaurants around the world. Now, what did they do? McDonald's installed a new internet-based data management infrastructure for the company. What this particular infrastructure will do? It will cover everything from electronic links with suppliers to software for tracking customer purchasing. Means how supplier are giving, how customers are purchasing, the whole supply chain process will be tracked in an electronic system. to sensors for remotely monitoring the temperature of fat in the Frenchy fry vat. So, even not that, wherever you store your Frenchy fry vats and etc., exactly how much temperature is there, that is also being tracked. So, the whole system of this McDonald's was being tracked. After 2 years, the CEO wrote off the initiative for 170 million due to financial pressure and eroding stock price. In simple words, the massive IT program of McDonald's failed. Now, I will stop here and ask you to think, based on whatever we discussed the 4 or 5 questions, why do you think this thing has failed? You just think about it before you go to the next slide. Stop this video for 1 minute, think about it, that why this thing failed. So, McDonald's changed its focus after that. So, McDonald's now figure out its topmost priorities. I told that you have to find out which processes are your priority. You cannot probably measure everything and store everything. That will be a huge data IT investment, and that might not work, which McDonald's did, and that is the answer of why they failed. So, they first found out the priority. Their priority was customer and existing restaurants. To improve the customer experiences and solve customer relationship problems worldwide, the company focused on simple CRM efforts. What? Installing touch screen ordering system. In this thing, you can have a touch screen, you can click there and you can order there, and improve a customer service hotline. So, the customer you call and give an order, that you improved. These highly targeted efforts contributed to resurgence in sales and profits. So rather than creating a huge system which is useless and focuses on not so important processes, try to focus on important processes, that will help you. So, that is what these people have done. So, these are some of the references that we from where the most of the concepts have been brought in, and you can probably listen to the CRM videos that we have, CRM RFM kind of videos that we have covered in the marketing analytics class. And I would also want to discuss here one single point is that CRM is a strategic concept. It is not something which can be done overnight. It is a very slow process of change, and you have to take a strategic call. And sometimes small I would say experimental initiatives might work better than taking a overhaul change in the whole world. But when you try to apply CRM in your customer situation, you have to think about that what is the most important aspect in the all the processes that are there in my organization, and try to target those aspects which are most important. And then you have to also find out that how customer centricity that we discussed before, customer focused decision makings can be used to handle this kind of situations. This is the second thing that is most important. Then obviously, certain calculations becomes more important, like prioritization. Just now I told that you can prioritize which customers to focus on and which customers to not focus on. Who are your angels and who are your devils? This is a classic takeaway of the whole course, that focus on your important topics, try to be customer oriented, try to decide that who are important customers. Important customers comes from both probability of retention, the monetary money that you have to expend to ensure that retention, and how much value you will get out of that retention. All of these things together create your most profitable customers. You have to identify those customers very targeted way, and then you have to know that what kind of cultural differences they have, what kind of needs and wants they have, and based on that you have to target this particular customers very focused way. So, if you can do that in a very focused way, then the CRM will apply. And then obviously, whenever you implement something, you have to first analyze, then design, analyze, measure. So, implement and measure. So, implement, measure, and then again you have to change your CRM strategy. What are the classic CRM strategies that we took, which we have discussed till now? We have discussed about certain monetary CRM strategy, like the loyalty programs that we give. In the loyalty programs, you can have multiple kinds of I would say levels, and in multiple levels you can give multiple different kinds of discounts, and probably this discount should be non-linear. So, as it goes up, the benefits that you get also gets increased in a non-linear way. So, that you have to ensure, that is the monetary part. There are so many non-monetary benefits that you can give also, like certain hedonic benefits, certain informational benefits. For example, in retail setup, sometimes we get early arrivals of dresses, the apparels, that is an informational benefit that we are giving. In the gaming setup, let us say you are trying to play a game, and certain features are open for only loyal customers, and certain features, certain levels of the game, certain features of the game are not even open for the loyal customers. So, if you are a paid customer, you will get certain specific guns, let us say if you are playing something, and those guns will not be available if you are not a paid customer. So, that kind of differences, which is not basically a feature related differences, that kind of things can also be given in a loyalty program. Obviously, monetary benefit related to repurchase, related to positive word of mouth can be given in case of loyalty programs. So, all of these things comes under the loyalty program perspective. Now, there are certain aspects, these are majorly focused on the repurchase intention. What kind of strategies you can take for the second one, which is positive word of mouth? You can encourage people to write reviews, you can solicit reviews at the correct point of time, you can probably engage them in the reviews. So, there is a leaderboard. In Amazon, if you go and see, in Amazon there is a leaderboard. Leaderboard comes from how many reviews you have written, how many likes and dislikes in the reviews you have got, and how important means how many people have viewed your review. Based on that, they create a leaderboard, and that leaderboard gets updated. Leaderboard gets updated means the good reviewers, the more prominent reviewers gets up in the leaderboard, and not so prominent reviewers comes down. So, reviewing itself or spreading positive word of mouth itself, they have done a gamification of that. By doing that, they give certain prizes, certain discounts, certain, I would say, even identity. They give you an identity that you are a good reviewer, so that many brands can come and ask you that why don't you write a review for us, and they pay you sometimes for writing reviews for them. Restaurants ask people, food bloggers and etc., to come and write review for them or write a vlog for them. So, travel vlog, these hotels and etc., ask the travel bloggers or travel vloggers, video bloggers also, to come and create a video or create a blog for them. All of these things is actually encouraging the positive word of mouth, and if you are actually engaging in that kind of a loyalty program, that might also increase the lifetime value. And the last one is repatronization. Repatronization is trying to engage the customers with your brand other than other brand. So, you can take lots of post purchase behavior for that, as I told that you can create a Harley Davidson club, or you can create forums, or you can create various other strategies. So, these are the operational side, and then we have discussed about the IT part of the CRM, what kind of IT initiatives has to be taken, database, probably call centers, and how this can be interconnected. And then we have discussed about the operational, about the strategic part, how to implement it, what is the change management issue. The moment you want to implement a CRM, even if you only implement it for the crucial factor in a very simple way, you will face change management problems. So, that comes into a picture, and the last one that we discuss is this global CRM. So, this was the whole story of CRM. Now it have marketing in it, it has HR in it, it has international strategy or international marketing in it. So, many other things comes together to create the CRM strategy. You have to think from a CRM strategy perspective, for a very operational perspective. Like if you only want to learn this is how CRM decisions are taken or CRM mathematics are done, some of these videos actually cover that. Some of the videos, as I told, in the CRM analytics part, that you will find in the marketing analytics course, you will find that. So, that is all from me. Thank you very much for being in this particular course with me. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you have any query, you can directly write to me, and see you in a different course. Thank you very much.